What if you could create your own reality? Inside every one of us lies a great power just waiting to be unlocked. The knowledge has always been there, but are you ready to accept it? Some of the greatest minds have tried to teach us the information that shakes your foundations of reality. Welcome to Awareness.
Welcome to Awareness. Throughout my life, I have been on a journey, but it started quite late in my life. I was 42, when I had a great awakening. So from one day to the next, I was a changed person. I did not understand, I had never meditated. So this awakening led me onto a journey where I needed to understand what had happened to me. I went out of my body, visited other dimensions, other worlds, and my hand was burning with the energy that could be transmitted to other people. So a lot of questions, but I was never afraid because I was shown a greater reality, and it was for me to explore that reality. And throughout the years, as I was studying, reading, also downloading information from the invisible world, from many categories of worlds, I came to understand that we are part of a greater whole. We are not alone. We are connected with everything. And what has happened now is that I have come to peace with the knowledge that we are on a journey, humanity are on a journey, and it is so important that we open our sight, our inner eye, to see what is out there and what is in there. It's all the same. And for the last 5 years, I have been talking to my friend Harley. We discussed spiritual things, ghosts, and I saw that he was working effortlessly to go deeper into the understanding of what everything is. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where do we end? Or do we end? So I didn't hear from him for 1 year, and one day he called me and he said, "Lilli, I've been writing a book because I have had amazing experiences the last year, and I need to talk with you because I want to share this knowledge with the world. It's so important for the awakening of the greater whole." So Harley, please explain to me what's going on with you.
Well, Lilli, it's been as you know, it's been a long journey. 5 years of researching, 5 years of coming into this information that has quite shocked myself. And I believe that this information is something that everyone that wants to achieve something in life, everyone that wants to understand that they truly have the power within to create their own reality. If you say that to someone, it sounds crazy. But if I actually stop someone on the street and just say, "Excuse me, you know you have the power inside of you to create your own reality," how hard that would be for someone to understand. So if we go back to the beginning, throughout my life, I have recreated myself more times than I remember. As you know, whether it's been music or TV, and I've always worked hard to reach my goals, and some way or another, I've actually achieved that I set out to. Even it might not be on the level that I wanted to achieve it, but I've achieved it. And one of the greatest mysteries that I've observed in life is that some people seem to be rich, some people seem to be poor, some people seem to be depressed, and some people seem to be happy. And we all get stuck in these cycles. So I wanted to understand what it all means. How can I connect all the dots? We have all these religions throughout the world with different belief systems. We have people trying to teach about success. And all of this I wanted to just basically put together and find out the source of all the information. Because it's not information that's just readily appeared. Like we have the law of attraction, for example. A lot of people are talking about that since the book came out 7 years ago and the film The Secret. And when you start digging and tracing back the origins of the teachings, it's been there since the beginning of time. It was just us, we never interpreted it correctly.
What is your understanding and your philosophy of how we are all connected, how it is all coming around, the big, big, big mystery? And you say, Lilli, it's not a mystery. Please explain it to me.
So if we want to look at how we're all connected, I think we have to do what I did. We have to go down onto a quantum level. We really have to dig deep to understand what we really are and how we are really all connected. So when we go to school, we're taught the science of matter and atoms based upon Newton's theory. However, over the last 100 years in the advancements in quantum physics, human technology, and the perseverance of scientists trying to find out the ultimate answer, what they found is when they look at an atom, now this is what you really have to get your head around, when you look at an atom on a deeper scale, you would see the exact, what you expect to see, the protons, the electrons, and the neutrons that form this atom. But when they looked deeper inside the atom, what they found was absolutely nothing. The atom itself consists of a visible energy. Now what we do know is that this invisible energy is constantly vibrating. So if we put this into perspective on how that can affect us and the world around us, that means that everything you see around you, including yourself, the trees, the planet Earth, the grass, the windows, the car you drive, the chair you're sitting on, everything is made of atoms. And those atoms are vibrating. Now, when I've explained this to people, it's very hard for them to get a grasp of that. And people can also say, well, if that's true, if everything's vibrating, why can't I put my hand through it? Well, Bruce Lipton had a great way of explaining this. He said, if you can imagine a tornado, and you drive your car at 150 kilometers at this tornado, is the car going to go through the tornado? No. The car's going to smash into 1,000 pieces. And the simple reason for this is every atom is a miniature tornado, depending on its vibration. So that's why everything on a quantum level is vibrating, and everything is energy. So you asked me how everything is connected. So once we understand on a quantum level that everything is vibration, we also understand that every frequency is connected to everything else. So we are connected to the universe, I am connected to you, everything is connected. Now our brains, scientifically proven, is both a transmitter and a receiver of frequencies. So for example, just like the law of attraction teaches us, if you're thinking happy thoughts, you're sending out happy vibrations, and you'll attract pretty much the same. There's an old saying, like attracts like. And Plato even had this, the same saying, like will always tend towards like. So throughout our history, the teachings have been there trying to show us that everything is connected. We are connected to the universe, and that everything is a vibrational field of energy. And if we want something in life, we need to tap into that energy. And that's how we can create our realities.
Tell us about your understanding of the inner power and how to use it.
So we're a complex species, the human species. We are very easily distracted. We are running around in our daily routines. We have children, we have bills to pay, we have illness to combat. We have so much things going on that we never really find the time to look into ourselves and ask the inner or the deeper questions. What happens is we get stuck in an autopilot, in a kind of a loop. So the reason for this is there's two parts of the mind. There is the conscious mind and there is the subconscious mind. Now the conscious mind, without the consciousness you probably want to have creativity. Without consciousness you wouldn't be aware that you are here now, because it's your momentary consciousness that you're working on. Now the problem is your actual consciousness is only working about 5% of the time. The other part of your brain, the big warehouse of information, the subconscious, that's what you're operating from about 95% of the time. Now, since a very small age, your subconscious has been taking in information in form of words, what it's observed, what you've been taught, what feels good, what feels bad, and the subconscious records everything. That's why people say if you give me a child until the age of 6, you can create anything you want. This is where the fundamentals of all religion comes from, belief systems, everything has been programmed into the individual. And what they believe to be true is true to them. So you're going around in your daily life operating on a 5% conscious when 95% of your life is driven by your subconscious. Your attitude, your behavior, your views, your feelings, your responses, everything you do, even though you're not aware of it, is an automatic response from your subconscious. So once we become aware of this, that we are all energy and everything we are sending out is a vibrational frequency, but yet we're operating on this 95% subconscious autopilot, that's why we keep getting the same results in life. Because we are programmed to feel and act a certain way, we are sending out these certain frequencies, and we are getting the same results. You can meet people in your lives, they seem to attract the same kind of boyfriend. You know, they make $1 million and lose $1 million, but they keep coming back up and back down. And you also meet people that are constantly ill or complaining or constantly depressed, and they seem to be sat in these cycles of behavior, or an emotional turbulence, as you could call it. And the reason for this is, like I've just said, 95% of your daily life is controlled by your subconscious mind. And until you become aware to break the habit and to reprogram the subconscious mind, your results in life won't change.
Where did you come across this knowledge, and how did you come across it?
So when I started this journey, obviously I started reading a lot of these self-help books, some of the great minds like Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill were probably the most greatest of influences. I mean, for example, Napoleon Hill, he worked with the world's richest man at the time, Andrew Carnegie, and they studied 500 of the world's most wealthiest people. And they wanted to understand what the difference between success and failure was. And there was one thing that was constant. They all had a subconscious belief, a stubborn belief, that they're going to make it. They're going to be successful. Most of them had no education. Most of them didn't come from financially good families or a great upbringing, but they had a drive. They had an imagination. They could see themselves already at the finish line. And that was the secret. They could visualize achieving what they already wanted to achieve. And out of 500 men throughout history, Thomas Edison, Tesla, Einstein, they've all said the same thing. If you want to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of frequency and vibration. So by being successful, they set their minds in a process of understanding that they believe it's going to happen. Therefore, they're sending out the vibration of that belief, and they will get what they believe as long as they don't get distracted. Now, you're probably wondering where all this information comes from. Obviously, we can say Andrew Carnegie, he was a great philosopher in many ways, but he did a lot of studying. And without the religious teachings, obviously most religions based back about 2,500 years. And if I can put a small example in there, this is no disrespect to anyone that's religious, but like Christianity, we can take back 2,500 years. Originally, the Christians' texts were around 72 scriptures, which would be around 95 books. And now we're down to 1 book. In 1945, a tomb was opened in Egypt, and we found Nag Hammadi Library. And in that was the Gospel of Thomas. Now, the Gospel of Thomas was a completely different story to what you read in the Bible, even though the Gospel of Thomas was Thomas who was actually working with Jesus at the time. So I think everything that we know is a misinterpretation. I don't want to go too much into that now because I would be here all day, but if you can imagine that all religions are a code. Everything that is written in religions is a code, and it also says in all religions that those that seeketh findeth, and those that knocketh, the door will be open to you. So when you really are ready to understand this information, you will start to, how can you put it? You will start to translate it yourself. The stories in the religions are just stories, but there are hidden truths, hidden meanings in those stories. So then we go back another 5,000 to 7,000 years, and we have the Hermetism theories that was based in Egypt, and they talked about the 7 laws of the universe. Now, I think it was the 2nd or the 3rd law of the universe, which is the law of vibration, which actually said 7,000 years ago that you need to constantly be aware of what you're vibrating, because that's what you're going to attract. We can even trace it back even further to the Mayans. We can trace it back even further to Sumerian scriptures and tablets. Basically, all the ancient teachings come down to one thing. When translated with a lexicon, they're actually showing us that we have the power within inside, and there is no outside influence. We create our own reality, but until we truly understand how to connect the thought and the feeling to make the vibration amplified, we'll be just stuck in a loop. And I think that's why so many people are starting to look away from the outer world and look to the inner world. And a great way to look at this is that they say knowledge is power. Well, I say, if knowledge about yourself, what does that mean? Knowledge about yourself is self-empowerment.
What's the road forward, and what's the plan that you have concerning your future?
Yeah, the road forwards. Obviously, life is busy. I still have many dreams and many things I accomplish myself, and I'm always working towards that. Because I've been studying this for so long now and so in depth, as you know, I made quite a sacrifice. I don't watch TV no more. I refuse to watch the news. That's probably why I haven't seen any of your new shows. But the reason for that is that I don't want any outside influence. I need to work on my own vibration to accomplish my own desires. And the thing is, since I've done this, I bought a house. That was previously impossible. I bought 2 new cars, which was previously impossible. This summer we've been on vacation like 3 or 4 times with my kids, which was previously impossible. I've done things that normally they've come very fast, you could say. So I put my whole life has been one big experiment now, this last 5 years, and I've cut a lot of contact off with a lot of people and just focused on the inner me, like I said. I read and research every day, 2 hours every morning, 4 hours every night. Then I work, then I have family time. So I divided my day up to better myself and my children's future. I have written a book called What Happens Next Changes Everything. I'm not a writer, I'm a dyslexic. So I don't know how I've pulled that off, but apparently it's pretty good. And the idea behind the book originally was to give something to my children. So if one day the heart does stop, then my kids could get the information that I have learned and hopefully give them a better start in life. But then I decided, well, if I can help my children, then maybe there's somebody else out there that's ready for this information and ready to open their eyes and try to think and look at life differently. So the plan is the book will go out later, and hopefully I can reach out to as many people as I can. That's it.
Harley, I am speechless. I am amazed. And it is like, I thought I knew a lot, but what you have been talking about is at a so deep level, and yet you explain it in such a natural way. So I think that everybody can understand it, and it is so important knowledge. So important, and it needs to reach the people out there. So I just say thank you very much, and I wish you all the luck and all the best for the days and the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, we become what we think about, as Earl Nightingale said, not as I say, sorry. So we become what we think about, and I'm pretty sure we'll achieve what we dream to achieve. Thank you, Lilli.